But when we speak specifically about the position player group, we recognize that in order to upgrade there, it was going to take, an elite talent, and that drove our pursuit. But now, we've had a chance to kind of regroup, and we recognize that teams that win in the postseason, they pitch, and the ability to build out both quality and depth in our rotation is something that's going to serve us well over the season. I think we saw what happened last year when later in the season our bullpen got tired. We had a couple unfortunate injuries with our rotation. We didn't quite have the depth built up to step in and replace them. So that's the focus of ours. We'll continue to be aggressive in pursuing starting pitching, but we'll also start to shift our focus toward continuing to address the bullpen. We obviously lost some really important innings at the back end of games down there.
That was Craig Breslow on MLB Network Radio. That was from earlier today. If you zoned out in the middle of that, I don't blame you. It is Craig Breslow after all. However, he is talking about pitching, starting pitching, and how that's something they're continuing to look at. Kind of poo-pooed the idea of really upgrading much in terms of position players, which I was surprised by. I didn't expect to hear him say that.
I hated
didn't
that
expect
clip.
to hear him say anything. Yeah, anything about.
He talked too much about selling me on all the good things with the returning roster.
Right.
That felt like well, we're not going to get Teoscar Hernandez or Bregman or whoever, so I'm going to start selling people on how good everything that we already have is.
And there's some good players on the roster who are returning, but you know who's not returning? Your best right-handed hitter. Mm-hmm. All right? He's gone. He's a Baltimore Oriole right now, and you need to replace him. That's
31 bombs.
That's not really negotiable. Like, you have to do something about that. You do have a good returning lineup, but it's all lefties, and the righties are questioned. Trevor Story and those guys, we don't know. We don't know what they're going to be or how they're going to look or what's going to happen. So, yeah, you need to replace Tyler O'Neill, and you need to do it yesterday. And ESPN has their free agent predictions, which are out right now. They did nail the Juan Soto to the Mets thing, which, again, I mean, listen, a lot of people thought that. But here's what they're saying about the remaining free agents who have not signed yet. Number one, or I guess number five, but he's number one on this list, is Alex Bregman. The projected contract, 6 years, $187 million. That's 30 and change, I guess, right? Best bets to sign Bregman are the Yankees, the Mets, the Tigers, the Phillies, the Astros, the Nationals, and the Boston Red Sox.
How many best bets do you get?
A lot of best bets.
That really narrows it down.
Jesus.
Whole lot of best bets.
That's a quarter of the freaking league.
Here is what they say about the Red Sox. The Red Sox don't need a third baseman. Great. Well, then next. With Bregman, though, they would have to move Rafael Devers to first base or DH if they don't trade Tristan Casas. They undoubtedly find this stat hard to ignore. Among players with at least 95 regular season plate appearances at Fenway, Bregman has the highest OPS. How about that? Higher than Ted Williams, Lou Gehrig, and David Ortiz. He has hit 375, 490, 750 in 21 games at Fenway.
Did you read that sentence right? It's higher than those guys?
It's higher than those guys.
Oh, I thought those were the only guys that were higher.
No. It's the high. He has the highest of all time. In 95 regular season plate appearances, he has the highest OPS ever at Fenway Park.
95.
It's a small sample size, but
Kike Hernandez during like a 95 at-bat span was the best hitter in the history of the world.
It's true. Bregman's dead pull approach, perfectly suited for the Green Monster. You love hearing that, right?
No, I
he's got
don't
a great
actually.
swing for Fenway.
I don't want
the Green
Bregman.
Monster.
I'm off Bregman.
Well, their prediction is that he goes to the Red Sox.
Oh, come on now.
That's what they're predicting.
I don't really want him.
You don't want him at all?
No. Because I feel like it's going to hinder future things that I want.
Like?
I don't know yet, but I think that contract being on the books for the next 6 years at $30 million a year is going to become a reason they can't do X, Y, and Z.
I am happy to move Devers over to first base and or DH. I'm happy to have a third baseman who can hit at Fenway or wherever. I mean, he's not on the upswing of his career, but he's not. He's still a pretty good right-handed hitter in the league, and he does have a good swing for Fenway or whatever, even though I hate that.
He's pretty good on the downswing, and you're giving him 6 years at $30 million a year.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't love
math.
that. I don't love it. But you do have to replace that right-handed bat that you lost. Well, Teoscar, not on the best bets. For Pete Alonso, Christian Walker, Anthony Santander, and Teoscar Hernandez, and also Sasaki, the pitcher, Red Sox were not listed as best bets for any of them.
Boo.
Corbin Burns, right-handed pitcher, projected contract, 7 years, $225 million. Best bets, the Giants, the Blue Jays, the Mets, the Orioles,
Red Sox,
and the Red Sox.
Yeah!
They write, the Red Sox are the fascinating team here. Even after trading for Garrett Crochet, their payroll sits at $150 million, according to Roster Resource, with a luxury tax payroll of about $183 million, still well below the $241 million first-level threshold. They could sign Bregman and Burns at $30 million per season and still be right around the threshold, although they still need a closer as well. Bregman, Burns, and a closer, maybe that's a stretch, but keep in mind the Red Sox made a big offer to Soto, and they might be willing to ramp up that payroll well past the tax threshold after sitting well under it in recent seasons.
Who wrote that? Me?
Yeah, right.
That sounds like little gullible Andy.
It certainly does.
Yeah, we're getting another starting pitcher, and then we're going to get a closer.
However,
they've done nothing.
Their prediction is that he goes to the Giants, to the San Francisco Giants. Very sad.
He is a West Coast guy. That does make sense.
People have said that. I've read that he wants to go out and play on the West Coast. Red Sox were also listed as possibilities for Sean Manaea and Jack Flaherty. Either one of those to set your toes a tapping there, Andy Hart?
Not really.
No?
I want Burns and Hernandez.
I'd like those guys. That's the top of my wish list.
And Mason Miller if we're doing
Burns,
the trifecta.
If it's Burns and Bregman, I'll take that, though. I'll take Burns and Bregman.
I think Bregman is going to be an albatross. I think it's going to be something that is net negative over the totality of that contract.
6 years,
team.
if the first 3 of them are decent.
What is decent?
I'm okay with that.
Like the 5 years ago decent when he could hit you 30, 40 home runs, or the more recent
If he gives you
decent?
between 20 and 25 home runs for those 3 years.
So he's worse than Tyler O'Neill.
Yeah, I'm expecting.
Who only played 113 games and hit 31 home runs.
Right. I mean, I don't think he's going to be better than Tyler O'Neill or the same as Tyler O'Neill. I think it'll be worse than him, but it'll still be.
And we're spending $180 million on him?
Yeah, but that's not going to mean much in the last 3 years of the contract. In the last 3 years of the contract, that's just going to be a run-of-the-mill, sort of whatever contract.
To this team?
To any team. That's
they
just the way the market's
$20 million's
gonna be.
a lot. They've been selling me on $20 million deals.
And have you not seen the direction that these contracts are going in right now? It's not necessarily.
Elsewhere.
Well, yeah, they're going very high.
Elsewhere.
They
don't look at baseball
leagues.
finance the same way that the rest of baseball looks at finance. They still think $20 million is a big deal, like it's 2004.
It's true.
They look at it differently. So I worry that while you're right, I think contracts are exploding. I think that Tucker trade was a part of that because people see, oh, my God, Soto got what? The contracts are going through the roof. I think the Red Sox will look at a $30 million deal as a massive contract.
Probably.
For a long period of time.
Probably.
Longer than they should. Longer than the rest of the world should. They probably still think eggs are like $3 a carton.
It's one banana, Michael. What could it possibly cost? $7? That is an Arrested Development reference. You probably didn't get.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
And a good one.
Thank you.